Crybaby, welcome back.
Hi, Kent.
Hey, hello. Did you get converted yet? You're
Good
calling
to
in?
see you. No, that's why I'm calling.
Okay.
Actually, I'd like to talk to you a little about fossils. You refer to fossils as bones in dirt, and how many of your fossils are bones in dirt?
Well, originally they were bones in mud, obviously, or shells, depending what you want to. Which there's a lot of different types of fossils. Okay. So I do it to illustrate the point. They are usually fossils that have now turned to stone in other stone, and you got to chip it away. If you're talking about the mud
Right.
hardening
So
into stone,
that's more accurate to describe it that way, right?
you're straining at a gnat and swallowing a camel.
Well, I mean, that's something that you say all the time, and it's wrong to it gives the people that listen to you the wrong impression about the fossilization process.
Quite often, fossils are found in dirt, okay, or found in rock. They don't always have to be in rock you chip out. There's several different types of
Well,
rock.
how
You're
many
well aware of
fish
that.
fossils do you have that are in dirt?
Our fish fossils are in
Rock layers, right?
I know.
Sedimentary
I'm trying to
rock.
think which type of. I think they're all in limestone, if I'm not mistaken. They find them in diatomaceous earth. Let's see, diatomaceous earth.
Sandstone, siltstone, yeah.
Yeah. So again, you're straining at a gnat. You're straining at a gnat.
Well, that's just one point. And
Okay. What's your next point?
you've also made the point that we don't know that any of those fossils had any young, gave birth to anything, but we have ichthyosaur fossils that have babies in them. We have dinosaur egg.
All right, let's slow down one
Yeah,
at a
go
time.
ahead. Go ahead.
I agree. We have find fossils that have the babies inside. Do you know that the baby was born and lived? Obviously not. It died in that one. I say very clearly, you cannot prove fossils had any children that lived. You cannot prove they had children that were different. The baby that was inside the ichthyosaur fossil, was it an ichthyosaur baby also, or was it something else?
Yeah, it was an ichthyosaur.
So
But
they don't change.
we know that ichthyosaur had a baby.
No,
So
you
at
know it was
least
pregnant. No,
at
you don't
least
know it had a baby. You know it was pregnant. You don't
at
know that
least
it was ever born. You don't know any of them ever born.
what about the dinosaur egg groups that we found?
Sure, and it's dead, isn't it?
Yes, but those
Proving
parents
my
gave
point.
birth to eggs.
But you don't know
So
that the egg
at
survived.
least some of the
We know it
fossils
didn't.
did give birth to young.
We know that animals give birth today. We can watch that happen today alive if all the farmers do that. And they're always the same kind. Why would you think fossils found in the rock, if that'll help you, why would you think they're capable of doing something that no animal today can do?
Well, that's not my question. I'm
Been my
I'm
question all
referring to
along.
I'm referring to the way that you're characterizing fossils
Right.
as never
You're
having
straining
young.
at a gnat so you can swallow the camel, just like Jesus said would happen. Okay. Nobody, let me repeat it. You cannot prove the fossils we find in the rock, if that'll help, had any children that lived. Could you? How could you prove? I have a fish fossil here. I got a bunch in the museum. How could you prove that fish had any children that lived? You can't.
Well, we know they had parents and grandparents and great grandparents, right?
And I bet they were the same. I bet they were fish, weren't they?
But right? Is that right?
No, we'd have to assume that. I think that'd be logical that they
Right.
had parents and
So
grandparents.
it's also logical that a good portion of those organisms that were fossilized did have young, and they were part of populations that had young.
Well,
So I
see,
mean,
but this is where
that's the rational way to look at it.
no, you're looking at this. You're proving my point. That's why I say there is no such thing as a fossil record. There are fossils by the trillions. Okay, if you want quadrillions if you want to count diatomaceous earth. Okay, there are fossils, no question. You cannot prove any of those fossils had children that lived or were different. You can't. Why don't you just admit it?
Well, I mean,
It's hard. I know it's hard.
I mean, we have eggs that were laid. And
Do you know this?
how would you explain fossil eggs that are in place in a nest in a global flood scenario?
Oh, there are lots of fossil nests that have been found with eggs, and the eggs are all dead.
No,
You
but my
cannot
point
prove
is in a
my point.
catastrophic flood, you wouldn't have all that stuff would be scattered around and it would be a chaotic jumble. But
Wait, how do you?
here you have nests of dinosaur eggs that were preserved in place.
Right. Right. In situ, it's called. Okay. How do you
Yes,
know the flood? Why do you say the flood was catastrophic? Who said that? It was a flood.
that's how
Might have
it's
been nice.
always
There are
referred
nice.
to.
Well, there are nice and
Catastrophic
gentle floods
processes.
all over the time. Floods happen all the time that the water comes up gently and goes down gently. Doesn't
Global
disturb. Doesn't
floods
happen
don't
here.
happen all the time.
The worldwide flood in the days of Noah might have had some parts that are catastrophic and other parts that were perfectly calm. People can drown in calm water, you know.
How could it have been calm when water covered the entire earth?
Water's covering 70% of it now, and a whole lot of it's calm.
And
Come down
especially
and
when
see our.
you have the fountains of the deep bursting open and
Sure.
shooting rocks everywhere. How
Right.
could that be calm? And it created,
Well,
according to you, all the fault lines and
right.
things that we have now, the tectonic faults, tectonic
Well, yeah. Right.
boundaries.
The earth is all cracked up like an eggshell. There are fault lines everywhere, but in between the fault lines, there's a whole lot of land. There's a whole lot of places on the earth that do not have fault lines. The flood was not 100% catastrophic the whole time. Might have been some places where perfectly calm. Water comes up, stays for a few weeks, few months, it goes back down. That happens all the time in floods. Ask any farmer. It might destroy his crops because it came up and flooded them and killed them, but it doesn't have to be. You guys, you want to get in everybody's mind that this worldwide flood was catastrophic everywhere. That's simply
Well,
baloney.
it wiped out all of,
You
according
can
to
drown
you,
in calm water.
according to you, well, yeah, but according to you, what you just said, there's pieces of land that are exposed, and so why would everything drown?
This is exactly what Second Peter said would happen. There would be scoffers who would be willingly ignorant of that
Well,
flood.
I mean, I'm asking a question.
Okay, I'm trying to explain. The world is really big, okay? 71% of it is still underwater from that flood. There are places in the ocean right now where it's perfectly calm. Perfectly calm. Sailors dreaded that going across the parts of the ocean where they knew they were going to hit the calm water. They didn't have any wind. And it's still deep enough to drown in.
Yeah,
So
but
you guys, it's a
yeah, but
straw man you're
according,
setting up.
but Ken, according to you, there's flooding that's going on. It's raining, storming, fountains of the deep are bursting open. Tectonic plates are spreading rapidly via hydroplate, your hydroplate theory, not yours, but Walt Brown's. And so that is a lot of chaotic events, right? They're
You're
just
setting up
that.
you're setting up a straw man so you can knock it down. Listen to me. You do not know that Noah's flood was catastrophic over every square inch of the world for the whole time. You cannot possibly prove that.
If you're
I think
saying
we,
that tectonic plates moved during that time period and moved to their current locations, then that means all the plates were moving because all the plates have boundaries with each other. And
so you're
so,
setting up another straw man again. Are the plates of the earth moving right now today?
yes.
Okay.
And I would say
How
that
come I don't?
back in the times of Noah, they were moving the same way they are now.
We don't know. We don't know. But the plates are still moving today, and where they move, they can have earthquakes. Over in Japan, if there was an earthquake in Japan, a 9.0 earthquake today, I wouldn't feel a thing in Lenox, Alabama. Not a thing. Perfectly calm
No,
outside.
but you're stating that hydroplate theory, you agree with hydroplate theory,
I think the
which
plates of the earth
indicates
have
that
always right.
which
The plates,
indicates
they
that
move,
the plates are moving on a water base great
right.
distances.
Maybe only short distance. We don't know.
That's catastrophic. That's the definition of catastrophic right there.
You don't understand what you're doing. You are trying to set up a straw man that the whole world was chaos and nothing could survive and no nests could be covered with
Well,
mud.
nothing did survive, right?
Animals survived. The ones on the ark and the ones in the water, the fish survived. Noah didn't have fish on the boat. But yes,
Right, but
listen,
no land animals survived or birds survived.
right, because they drowned. You can drown in calm water. Not a problem. I was lifeguard for several summers. You guys set up this straw man that the whole world was catastrophic, and Noah's boat couldn't survive because it was being twisted around. It might have floated in perfectly calm water. Go down to the Caribbean sometime. Beautiful, calm seas most of the time. And if a hurricane comes up through the Caribbean, it might be perfectly calm in California. You can have storms and have chaotic areas and 5 miles away have perfect peace and harmony. You guys need
Yeah,
to stop setting up you're setting up a straw man.
you're talking about a single event that was a global flood. It's not like
Right.
what you're describing in the Caribbean or other processes that are happening today. This is a flood that's covering the entire
Right.
surface of the earth. And according to you, it's making hundreds of feet of sedimentary layers. That right there is a catastrophic event. You wouldn't have those
Oh, no, no, no.
being
You
able
don't
to
get
be
it.
made in that short time period without there being a catastrophe. So
We have a
even the
5
things
we
you
have about a
describe, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ken.
okay, we have about a 5-acre lake here, I think is our biggest one, 4 or 5 acres. It gets sediment layers in there all the time without any catastrophe. Huh.
Yeah, but we're
You
talking
guys,
about the Grand
again, you're
Canyon, or we're talking
listen,
about the
you're
layers.
right. You're determined to set up a straw man so you can make the Bible flood look foolish. Listen to me. It's a really big world. There can be catastrophic areas going. I bet there's some hurricanes or typhoons going on right now someplace. I don't feel
But
a thing over here.
how would it affect your faith if that story was metaphorical? I mean, how would that change your belief system if that was a metaphorical story? Like,
Or how would it
I
change?
mean, a
How
lot of
would it
Bible scholars think it was a metaphorical story borrowed
tell them I
from,
said
the Sumerians or the
right?
Mesopotamians.
Tell them I said they're wrong. How would it affect your faith if the flood story was true?
If the flood story was true, I would have to reevaluate my belief system. But I would have to find
Yay.
evidence. I would have to find evidence for that, and I don't find any evidence for that. Every
Okay.
every fossil is found in a layer that fits that particular environment that it was formed in. So if you look at the
Well, you're
petrography of a layer, you can look at layers through microscopes. You can see where the
okay.
source of the minerals are and the rocks. You
Right.
can see the
You're
fossils, and the fossils will be found with other fossils from that environment, such as a river environment. You might find ferns with dinosaur fossils and other. Go
mhm.
ahead.
Well, floods can certainly bury nests of eggs and delicate things and preserve them perfectly. You apparently have been taught and unfortunately believe that the layers are different ages. If the top layer is younger, where did it come from? My point has always been every speck of dirt on the planet is the same age. It was all created at the same time. Moving it from here to here doesn't change the age of it. How can this dirt be 10,000 years old and this dirt is 2.5 billion years old? Where was all that dirt sitting for 2.4999 billion years? Where was the Holocene dirt sitting for 2.4999 billion years?
Well, I mean, you agree that there's mountain ranges that are eroded by rivers and streams and wind, right?
That's moving the dirt from point A to point B. That's not changing the age of it.
You're changing the age of it's the age of the layer, Kent. We've talked about this a lot. It's not the
I
age
know,
of
and
the
I don't know.
molecule.
You still don't get it. The age, every speck of dirt's the same age. Moving it into a layer and moving the whole layer someplace doesn't change the age of it. How can you not get it? I don't understand. You're an intelligent
We'll
man.
we'll talk again. Thank you, Kent. I
All right,
appreciate
thank you.
talking to you. Thanks.
Okay,
Good to
anytime.
see you,
Anytime.
Joseph. Bye.